What's up guys, my name's Dychronic, yours here on this Destiny 2 video, and today we're going to be talking about the Warmind reveal that happened yesterday. We're going to be talking about what we do know about all the different things they talked about, from escalation protocol to the Crucible private matches, exotic gun changes, all the stuff they did talk about, as well as a release on the different pictures that Activision released in the press kit yesterday. We're going to talk about all the different things that we do know, as well as the things that we don't know, which is often just as important. So to start off with, if you did not see yesterday, they showed us a reveal on Twitch where they showed us a couple of different things. They didn't show us a lot of different things. For the most part, they showed us Escalation Protocol, which is a new wave defense kind of mode where you have 6 or 7 waves and there's a bunch of different bosses and a final boss. They did not show us the entire escalation. They didn't show us the end boss. They didn't show us the unique rewards that come through every single one that repeats every week, that has a new strike boss for up to like 5 weeks. But they did show us a little about it. We also saw little miscellaneous things like Mars tokens, which probably are used to buy that like Warmind, like Siva, like armor. Secret collectibles, perhaps hidden underneath bridges. We saw the Valkyrie spear, that one pick-upable, like similar to the sword, that you can kind of throw Valkyrie spears and slam into the ground that we saw in the trailer that we thought were cool. We saw the new Warmind shotgun, a whole bunch of things while we were watching the Escalation Protocol. The other side of it, when Crucible, we got to see the new seasonal Crucible ranks, Crucible Valor, your competitive rank. There's a lot of different names for it. They also showed off the fact that there are private matches coming May 8th, finally, as well as mostly in that Crucible, they showed us a lot of exotic gun changes. So things like Skyburner's Oath having a tracking explosive round, having the Graviton Lance be a 2-shot burst with a lot more damage and making it so that a lot more explosions happen off of it. Rat King being able to fire fully automatic with a lot of people around, showing off even updates to things like the Crimson. Lots of cool things that they showed off in that preview for some exotic gun changes, but of course we didn't see all of them. There's probably a bunch more that we didn't get to see that they did update as well. And then finally, the last little note, they did show kind of the multi-emotes where you can actually pick and have all 4 different directions on the D-pad actually be an emote, instead of having just one emote that you can swap in and out and everything else just being the exact same every time. Now, if we take a look at the development roadmap, there's a couple other things that are on the May 8th list that they didn't even touch upon at all. Firstly, there's vault space increase. They didn't talk about it at all. Not exactly something you need to experience. We've been asking for a very long time, so we'll have to wait and see exactly how they do that, because they didn't say they're just going to increase the size of it. They didn't talk about exotic weapon masterworks. This was a big one. A couple of people on Twitch, like Goliathan, I think, talked about it very briefly, about the fact you have to do some quests on each item instead of doing masterwork cores, but that's just a rumor I heard. Don't quote me on that. They didn't talk about heroic strike modifiers, or the reason they say Nightfall challenge cards in the list for May 8th. I thought we already had Nightfall challenge cards. Are they going to be updating them? Are they going to be changing them? Or is this just telling us that there's new strikes for Nightfalls? What's going on with this? They also didn't talk about the raid or the new strikes at all. There's a lot of things they didn't talk about. Obviously, they wouldn't talk about the raid layer. They always want to keep that very, very secret. There'll probably be like a reveal kind of stream, or be a reveal trailer a couple of weeks after the DLC launches, when the actual raid layer drops. It'll happen right before that. But they didn't even hint at it. They didn't tell us where it was going to be. Obviously, we assume it's probably going to be in the Leviathan, since it's a raid layer, but we didn't have any information revealed about it at all. And that's just one of those things that they love keeping from us. Moving on to some of the pictures that were in the Activision press kit, there's a couple of things like PlayStation exclusives. There's exclusive armors for each one of the different classes. There's also an exclusive strike that's coming to PlayStation. It doesn't seem like it shows off the boss at all. It's in a kind of Vex-like world with some Cabal running around. It seems like an underground, very similar kind of style to Pyramidium, but less dark and more kind of foggy. Overall, this definitely looks like one of those strikes that hasn't been fully fleshed out, is not really that critical to the story. It doesn't really offer too much in the ways of being awesome, which is good, so that everybody can play the strikes that are really cool. They also offer a lot of images of the different story areas, a lot of places in the ice with the ice thralls, different locations with different boss-looking characters. For the most part, there isn't really anything that spoils the story. Mostly they're just landscape with some enemies in an area. They do talk about Nukris, which is supposed to be the new strike boss. He looks like a wizard, very similar to the way Oryx looks, actually, with his horns out the side. It's very Oryx-like themed, and I can't wait to fight him, because it's just gonna bring back good old memories from the King's Fall raid. One thing I did want to mention is that they labeled one of these folders, and a lot of the images inside of it, they called it Pilgrimage. Now, I'm not sure what pilgrimage means. It could potentially just mean campaign or a story, but perhaps pilgrimage is something different entirely. It definitely was in the story list, so perhaps this is a kind of alternative to Lost Sectors or Adventures or something. Maybe pilgrimage is somewhat similar to that, or again, maybe it's just another name for what the story is called, but maybe pilgrimage is something we ought to pay attention to. Next up, let's talk about the new NPCs. Now, there's obviously a bunch of different guys you can kill, like Nokris and all those things, but there's going to be one focal point here, is going to be Anna Bray, or Annalisa Bray. She's going to be that new person that basically leads the DLC. You know, in the past DLCs, there have been leaders of DLC. Eris Morn, who led the Dark Below one. There's a whole bunch of different people. Basically, Anna Bray, we've never heard of her before, and she's going to be leading this one. She's like a hunter lady who wants to see what happened to our past, and Warmind is all about what happened in our past and what we built is basically a defense network that's supposed to defend us against anything that was from the Golden Age, way back in the day before aliens. So perhaps throughout the story, or the pilgrimage maybe, we'll find out exactly what happened with the Warmind. Maybe even find something about ourselves, our guardians. Perhaps we were involved in the Warmind somehow. That would be an incredibly interesting story arc, but again, we'll have to wait and see. There's this small little part called the Golden Age Vault. I actually don't know what this is about. Could be similar to Lost Sectors or Adventures. Maybe like hey, there's like a vault over here, and if you can get through this little thing, there's gonna be like a little treasure trove at the end. That literally just describes Lost Sectors. So hopefully it's better than Lost Sectors. Hopefully it's more interesting. For the most part, it really does just look like a Lost Sector in the Rasputin areas, which is Golden Age technology. So, you know, I'm not too excited, but it is something to look out for. There was a list of all the new exotics that we saw. I made a video about this yesterday. I can quickly put them on screen now. All the exotics that have been told to us. I doubt this is all of the exotics. There's most definitely something coming from the raid, or perhaps coming from the exclusive Nightfall rewards. Maybe something else hidden that they didn't want to show us. But all the ones we do know about, they sent us pictures of all of them. We don't know all of their perks or how they work. We can only extrapolate and speculate based on the ones that have been in Destiny 1 and the pictures they've shown us. And lastly, I'm going to leave some pictures of the gear. There's a couple of pictures of the gear, you know, like Siva-like gear. There's the, honestly, it looks like Siva, but obviously it's Warmind themed, and Siva and Warmind kind of go together and hand in hand. And I'm really excited because I've always loved the way this look. If you've ever seen my banner on YouTube, it actually is my character in the feedback fence exotic arm piece. Was one of my favorites from Destiny 1, and it's terrible in this game, obviously. But it's definitely one of my favorite looking armors, so I'm very excited to get myself kitted out in some full set of gear with some Siva armor. And I'm super excited. I am very excited for this. I don't expect this DLC to last me more than a month, and most people a few weeks, so don't be super duper excited and hype out over it really crazy. And if you do end up sticking around, you're probably going to be grinding out some raids or doing some Crucible just because you like playing it. For the most part, this is just supposed to say, hey, come back in, get your light level up a little bit, and then you can play for a little bit, waiting for that September release, which is supposed to be the Taken King sized expansion. Anyways, that's pretty much it. If you did like the video, make sure you leave a like down below. It really helps the channel out. Of course, subscribe for more Destiny 2 in the future. Wow, I may have said that quite a few times, but it's true. If you want to see Destiny 2, and I love Destiny 2. I love Destiny 2 more than Destiny 1, so a lot of people who are bagging on it, making it feel bad, come on over to this channel. We are positive vibes here. We got positive outlooks dropping from Crucible vendors all the time. Actually, I think that's a Vanguard weapon. But yeah. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you staying to the end. Hashtag made it to the end. I will heart any comment that says that if you want to leave that as a comment. And yeah, my name is Dychronic, and I'll see you guys on the next one.